this administration experience accountability is how do you enhance this? The people to use to enhance what I've just stated is anything. Even though I have a very vibrant, active communications unit, but we want an platform, which is the AYP, the SMBC, and other media. Tell the story, to tell what contains or to report what contains in each story. And it is going to be an interesting argument. But like you stated, we want a situation where other communities are still dragging it to match up contemporary to be able to see the need to allow the judiciary to move from secrecy, an institution that has been shrouded in secrecy, to openness, to open it activities to the public. So we create conversation around this because this is what of this, what is beginning of century report is very critical to the development of the country's democratic credentials. So it is necessary for Australians within and outside the country to sit on television or go online, follow our Facebook, Zoom, and YouTube page to hear arguments from lawyers and see what is going to be the response, system of response from the landed judges. Four honorable justices, together with the honorable chief justice, who is going to preside. Mind you, the honorable chief justice of the Republic of Australia is also the president of the Supreme Court, and he is actually going to be the reverend. Civil society organizations, civil society activists have likely played the judiciary for this venture, especially the very sensitive and critical issues such as the PR system. And also, you see how important it is for the judiciary to make sure that it's no longer shrouded in secrecy, that people should understand what's happening in the Supreme Court. It's a possible possible. What does this mean? Because I think a few weeks back, we spoke on what the judiciary needed in 2022. Now, in 2022, we started with a thing like this. What will this mean for justice? And there are also concerns from civil society activists on how this can, how assured are you going to allay the fears and those who have critical concerns with regard to this? What is important to start every development? We have a process of over time, the Israeli judiciary have been criticized, either the right or the wrong. Now, we want to shift the attention of for holdings that needed.
Well, that's just some insights and highlights from the Supreme Court, the Law Courts building, where the matter on the proportional representation system, the PR system, the Supreme Court judges, 4 of them will start hearing, 5 of them, I think, will start hearing that today. But we have to round up. I'll start with you, Valnora. On that note, what does this mean for our democracy? You know, this matter, and it's being broadcast live on the national broadcaster SLBC and on AYV.
Firstly, I think over a couple of years, whilst I was at Campaign for Good Governance, we've been engaging the judiciary on having a more open and transparent means of engagement. Maybe not necessarily doing a broadcast of some of their trials, but ensuring that the public can understand and relate with what they're doing. This is a very controversial issue. So firstly, probably it helps if it's broadcast live, as many people as possible across the country can view and listen and follow what the discussions will be. The outcome, we might not tell at this point how advantageous either way it might be for the elections, but we are hopeful that the Supreme Court judges will take the country at heart, and they might take examples from other parts of the world. Even in Kenya, I gather that even a day prior to the elections, there were issues that civil society brought to the attention of the Supreme Court, and they made decisions in the interest of Kenya, not in the interest of any particular group of people or a particular individual. So I'm very hopeful. We are very, very hopeful that they would make a decision that would be in the interest of Sierra Leone.
Okay, Iman, what does this mean for a democratic process?
Well, permit me line in Ampankyo.
Okay.
All of them think that this is Solamana out of a hype. This is not a hype. Paupa, Salon de Bete.
Okay.
That is not the end.
Yes, Lawrence?
Yeah, for me, I consider this to be one of the landmark cases to be determined by the Supreme Court. And I also applaud the judiciary for allowing media access, the cameras to cover the hearings. And we hope that and every decision that will be arrived at will be in the interest of the country. Besides that, I just want to caution Imran and probably his colleagues at the communications unit that when they make or want to make comparative analysis, they should find countries, that are in the same category with Sierra Leone. As much as Ghana's economy is bad,
I did too.
we cannot compare education system with Ghana. We cannot compare health system with Ghana. Ghana is industrializing their economy. As much as things are bad, we should compare ourselves with Liberia.
There's a reason for that.
Okay.
And just before we round off, Imran, there are a lot of comments on our
Yeah, we
Facebook
have
page
a lot of
about
them.
your statement about President Momo. And some are demanding that he owe the public an apology, and his family particularly for insinuating that he's a drunkard. Do you think it's something you'd want to do?
Well, I think that was. It was not done with the intention, right? Based on what you're saying, in terms of the feedback, I'm just saying that the
So are you
context.
taking it back? Would you like to apologize to his family and those who took
My
offense?
point is the context are different. We're talking about a one-party rule, which
So you would
eventually
not like to render an apology?
that eventually led to a long civil war in this country.
You stand
I'm
you
talking
stand on
about.
what you said about him?
It has been misinterpreted and
It's about the
misunderstood
total
completely.
aspect you
And if the misinterpretation, if what I have said has caused misinterpretation, then that's never the intention. Yeah, I'm talking about two separate
And you
periods.
apologize and take it back.
It is never the intention. It was not done out of ill will. It was not born out of ill will. There are two separate periods in the
So
history
you're
of
not
this
taking
country.
it back and you're not apologizing?
Those are two separate periods in the history.
Me too.
If you listen well to my statement, I'm saying it was not born out of ill will. It was not said out of ill will.
An apology has to be deliberate if
and
there's an apology.
It was not born out of ill will. It was not said out of
So
ill will.
for the last time,
My
Imran,
point
sorry,
is-
we're running out of time.
My
Are you
point is-
taking it back and apologizing or not?
Those are two separate periods in the history of this country.
Thank you very much.
Dictatorship, right, and one-party rule for a very long time that led to civil war.
Wow.
We're talking about multi-party politics
Wow.
since 1996.
Imran, thank you for Lauren. Thanks to you, Lauren, for being a part of the program.
Wow.
This is where we would end today's edition of
Wow.
Wake Up Sierra Leone. Our quote for today says, in a state of poverty, illiteracy, people just remain exposed to all kinds of manipulation.
Yes.
And that's what we have lived. It's easier to tell a poor person, you know what, you're poor, you're hungry, because the other one has taken away your rights. That's an apt quote from Paul Kagame, president of Rwanda.
Thanks to our sponsor, OK Commercial Bank, for their support to the show. Continue to stay with AYV throughout the day. As we
Good
bring
morning.
you
Good morning.
live
I know
updates
you guys
from,
have not
the
seen me
local
since
studio.
yesterday.
We have been your
It's just that
presenters.
I've
I am
been
Amadou
on
Lamwana
one or
Bata.
two
Thank you very
things
much
that
for
are
being
very
with us.
important.
And I am Vivian Sway.
But
We wish
again,
you a
today is a
lovely
very
day
important
and a
day in our
productive
country
week, and we
because
apologize for not
they have
using your Facebook
the
comments.
APC had
Cheers.
taken the government to court on this proportional representation, and it's going to be on live, and it's very important that Sierra Leoneans pay attention to this particular trial that is going on, because it has to decide our destiny. One thing I know in our country, we get constitution. So if right now they say constitution not there, we get for go on this proportional representation, the court they can decide them. So I will let people for follow up and watch am because it's very important. I go to watch am, I go to watch every channel where it did because now something we for be broadcast by right. No way they get am because this is very, very, very important to we country, very important to we democracy. And then I will talk about the president's speech where he give later on. I will talk about the president's speech where he give later on. But for now, I just want to make you watch this speech where within on AYV with this proportional representation in court. And again, before we go much further, God damn it, I gotta move this because I need to put this thing on charger. Sorry. Yeah. And like what I say, there is something wonderful will happen in which Imran called the former president a drunkard. That was a total insult. And again, another thing I want to talk about with this Imran interview, I beg Sarah Lynn, in a no we don't. Oh, not with this one. Sorry. Hold on. I want to charge my other phone because it's not much charge. Okay. I hope say Sarah Lynn explain.
Unity, freedom, and justice to remind all APCMs
only one Sarah Lynn
that we are Sierra Leoneans first before we begin.
Because when they look at this president way, clearly they lied they deceive and lied to the people. Clearly, they deceive and lie to the people. Because I just imagine, like Imran, they say, September, August, September, it always be August and September. The people will go for go demonstrate. Now people the way them bring come in. That's an insult to Sierra Leoneans. That's the real insult to we the Sierra Leonean. Because that is this, first of all, I want to make people realize, say, this president I first don't dig in your grave. The first thing we got is say, every opposition are terrorist. And again, when they be there on opposition, they were not terrorists. When we be they support them, we were not terrorists. But now when you see they know they do the right, when you want to support another party, then they say you're not terrorist. So all of these things, now the hate speech, when the president been done the give, now it lead to all of these. Now, let me look at inside the western area. We not get lantern. We not get carnival. We not get nothing. But when you go to the other area, the south, then they pull 12 devil for one day. Then they pull masquerade. So the president of himself now divide the country willfully for political gains. Then it's still the lie and the deceive people. You will say people get right for vote, for go demonstrate, but you murder people and picking them, and you beg them like a dog. Up till today, mothers are crying for their children. Up till today, mothers are crying for their children. Children are without their mothers and fathers. Somewhere in their houses. I go let them invest, let them see Uda and Uda get arms on that day. When the president still the lie to we the people, like the people are stupid. But I upset the people that go believe if their life, now we ask yourself a question. Is President Bio able to solve this problem in Sierra Leone? Is President Bio capable of solving Sierra Leone problem? When he and West they go each and every trip, $1 million. Each and every trip, President Bio and the West they go now $1 million. Each and every trip, $1 million. Is President Bio able to solve our problem? Or did President Bio come to enrich himself? What he don't already do? Each and every trip, $1 million. Each and every trip, $500,000. Come on now. Whereas the poor masses, they suffer every day. And I think about it. And I look around the continent of West Africa. Whose president went on fly like Fatima Imadabio? Now we look at our country. Look at your neighbors. Look at the development. Now Guinea, we're a dictator. And yet still, after 4 years, now this president one can talk to people, they can add more insult to injury. This same system will bring you calm. I hope Sierra Leone they understand this proportional representation. I really hope they understand. I hope they understand. Because I want to make Sierra Leone understand, say, the quickest way for you to get rich, now we don't go to parliament. And all them failure them, now America and London, we're not able to make an alive. Now they want to go to parliament. And at the situation we don't get so right now, when people that we don't know the ass from the elbow, then a position in a see how the dollar they go, in a see how much for one bag rice, in a see how much for one bag rice. I hope Sierra Leone they can open their eyes and understand. I hope Sierra Leone they go realize that Madabio no fit for rule salon. Madabio just come for rule in Sierra Leone. We don't get 4 years. You life better. 500,000 for one bag rice. Things are so difficult. Freedom of speech not there. If you not belong to JMB, you are not a Sierra Leonean. But you are big. The people in a low wise up. We not get much time again. And also the lies that they come from every angle. Can you imagine the policy, the statement from a government representative is that the former president, J.S. Momo, was a drunkard. And he still reintegrate him. Say J.S. Momo was a drunkard. So we they ask, where is Captain Valentine Stresser, who was not a drunkard? Some of these questions, they make we know the type of leaders that we get. And we don't see one thing about this government. They do not respect their predecessor. Oh God, this one I disable test device. Oh, that's the one I wanted. You know, they do not respect their predecessor. Like what I say from even in the matter bill. When it comes to the predecessor, they have no respect, they have no regard. It is all about them, and not about the people of Sierra Leone. I hope that this time the people of Sierra Leone will get it right. I hope that this court, whether they go so for this proportional representation, the judge go think Sierra Leone before he think about political party. Because this not the right time at all. This not the right time at all. We're not going to no war in our country. I think we're not getting no war at all in our country. So, proportional representation not get no place inside our constitution at this time. No place, you not get. But again, let's see, because they say if we go live on every station, Looking at this girl station themselves. SLBC. Because this is very, very important. Very, very important. SLBC. Very important. Very, very important. Yeah. Okay, I think it is on a SLBC. So, like it
and now as I came, they are on this side, as usual, the Attorney General and his team. So, Milo, we don't.
I'll therefore change the phone.
If that will suit your convenience. Ask me, Lord, please.
Very important, please.
My Lord,
oh God,
representing the plaintiffs in this matter, Dr. Abdullahi Kunte, who is on his way. Joseph Fitzgerald Kamara.
Very important, very important. Let me watch this proceeding. God, let this thing just stay stable. Right. I really want this thing to stay.
Evan Kamara. And Karu Kamara.
Let me go ahead and look at the phone. That's too much.
Yes, my lords, the first respondent is present, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Representing the first respondent is R.D. Kua. Usman Ibrahim. Yes, Kano. Sukendo. MP Bangura. Then what? E. Bangura. C.J. Freeman. Sandy and A. Lansana. Sandy and A. Lansana. That's the second respondent. Yes. Dr. E.S. Abdullah. 83 is 80 as in Thomas. And J.A. Bokari for the second respondent.
Could somebody make way for him to sit down? He should not be up there. You sit at the back. You're not a lawyer, so just sit at the back. Are the plaintiffs present? Yes, my lord. We have first plaintiff present. Yes, second plaintiff is also present. That's all. Sit down. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Joseph, come on. May I crave the indulgence of the court that counsel on record is on his way, Dr. Adolai Conte. The notice received is that the court will commence at 10:30, and I've just spoken to him. He's within the precincts, and he should make the argument on behalf of the plaintiffs. The court, Registrar, is that the case?
Yes, my lord. My apologies. I just saw the notice of hearing this morning, my lord. My apologies, my lord. You indicated that it should be at 10 in the morning, my lord. It's a typographical error, my lord. My apologies, my lord.
That is sloppiness as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly, my lord.
That is sloppiness. My lord, Dr. Adolai Conte is here already. Thank you, my lord. Yes.
First, humble and profuse apologies. There has been some miscommunication. I got notice for 10:30 for the start of proceedings. And then there was an announcement to say 10 o'clock. But I gave preference or credence to the official notice for 10:30 of proceeding.
Your apologies are accepted. It's not your fault, so you can proceed.
I'm grateful. Now let me just deal with some housekeeping matters. After the lodge of the plaintiff's case, we subsequently received a reply by way of case for the defendant. And in it, they attempted to raise objection to your lordship's jurisdiction. We are prepared to meet that objection if they do raise it formally before the court and to reply to it. So by way of procedure, may I respectfully suggest that we deal with the, in quotation mark, the objection invoking section 53, subsection 3 of the Constitution as a shield against the lordship's jurisdiction in this matter. We are prepared to deal with that, and then, if needs be, we go into the substantive.
Jurisdictional objections could be in time. If they have raised it in the defendant's case, it only behoves you to address it, because this is, you're invoking the original jurisdiction of the court.
Thank you.
And as a result of that, there will not be any opportunity for replies. So in addressing that case, you need to address it, if that's the case. So give you time to do that. That's all we can say.
So we can go into our substantive application.
Yes, you know what they've written and you can address it, because I am not going to give you an opportunity to reply. You have one bite, you exhaust your bite, but inexhaustive.
As your lordship, please.
And besides, part of their case.
It's part of the case, and it is part of the plaintiff's case as well. We had anticipated they would raise something like that.
In terms of timing, I am going to allow you time to do what is needful. The only thing is that if giving, say, 1 hour to, or you take 1 hour, the other person too might have the opportunity of going as much as that time for equality of our purposes. But I'm not going to constrict you, constrain you with time, like 30 minutes or 1 hour or whatever. So feel free to go into your case.
My Lord, I'm grateful for any guidance and words of wisdom that may fall from your Lordship's lips. May I, before I proceed, make an observation and a humble request, given the nature of the case and the issues to be determined. It had been the plaintiffs and their attorneys' desire that your Lordship would sit on bank with the full complement of the Supreme Court, and if need be with the Court of Appeal. What I noticed from the paneling, a judge or two from the Court of Appeal has been brought up, and there are substantive Supreme Court judges who have not been empaneled. We would, in the interest of justice and given the importance of the issues, wish that this court sat on bank, a full bench, to hear the case and determine it, given that it is the apex court.
But that is...
I mean, no reflection on the present composition, but just in the interest of justice. So you all, with your wise heads, knock together.
Insofar as paneling of cases are concerned, that is the prerogative of the Chief Justice.
Absolutely.
It is you don't know my judges, I know my judges, and I've chosen. No disrespect for those that have not been chosen. You have to go by it. I am not going against any law, it's the law of the land, and we go by it.
My Lord, I mean no reflection, none in the least, on any judge who's not been empaneled. But we are only saying on behalf of the plaintiff, given the importance of these.
You're all legal jurists or jurists of the law, and it's left with you if you want to go by the American system where you
No, it's not an American system.
It must be the law.
My Lord, if I may, in the recent decision of the United Kingdom Supreme Court on an application which I cite in my authorities, the Chief Justice empaneled in the Supreme Court not less than 11 judges. Because of the importance, this was a challenge to the exercise of the prerogative to prorogue Parliament, and Ms. Miller brought a constitutional challenge, and the judge, or the Chief Justice in the UK, properly felt.
Dr. Abulai Conte, out of respect to you, in your age, and in fact, I was a pupil in your class of evidence. I've allowed you, but let us go within the law and let us proceed.
My Lord, I have no doubt it is your prerogative to empanel a court, but that prerogative must be informed by the interests of justice. That's all I say. I move on. Mayor. May it please the court. This application before your lordships this morning is by way of notice of originating motion, filed on behalf of the two plaintiffs in the matter, seeking the following reliefs. One, a declaration that on a proper and purposive interpretation of Section 38A of the Constitution as amended by Act number 15 of 2001, the controlling provisions stated in subsection 1 of that amendment, namely, and I quote, but no constituencies have been established, are, in our respectful view, conditions precedent to warrant or justify the holding of any general election, particularly for the ordinary members of parliament, by the district block system referred to as proportional representation. Therefore, any directive by the President to the Electoral Commission to hold any public elections for ordinary members of Parliament.
What is in the motion paper, you've given us the first relief prayed for, but the second, I note that you just went therefore, and I have here as number 2. So are you changing that?
I'm just dealing with the application and the relief being sought by the plaintiff.
You have number 2.
Number 2, the declaration by the Honorable Court that the 5th Parliament of Sierra Leone, as presently constituted, is itself elected on a constituency basis as provided for in Section 3, Section 38, Subsection 1 of the Constitution. These constituencies are still extant and subsisting. That's a relief the plaintiffs are seeking from your lordships. The third relief they seek is that a further declaration that revision of constituencies as provided for in subsection 4 of section 38 does not in and of itself necessarily result in the establishment or dissolution of constituencies stipulated in sections 38 subsections 1 and 2. But rather, the section provides for the period when existing constituencies should be revised or reviewed, which review or revision may or may not necessarily result in a delimitation of the respective boundaries of the existing constituencies. When you hold a review, you don't disestablish a constituency. Fourthly, a declaration by this honorable court that to hold the 2023 elections of ordinary members of parliament on the district block system or the proportional representation system for ordinary members of parliament may prevent independent candidates from contesting. May I say hasten to add, I have no brief for anybody who intends to contest as an independent candidate, but it is a provision of the Constitution that contemplates and provides for them. As provided in section 77, paragraph M of the Constitution. That I begin just with my own, if you like, default position. When I say the Constitution, I mean, of course, the national Constitution enacted in 1991. I don't need to go up number this, number that. Number. It is the, as my learned friend used the Kelsenian word, the golden norm. It is the highest law as provided in section 171. Of the Constitution itself. The plaintiffs seek also a fifth declaration that to hold the multi-tier elections in June 2023 by the district block proportional representation system will be unlawful and ultra-vires the Constitution of Sierra Leone as amended. Sixthly, the plaintiffs seek from your lordships.
Dr. Abdullahi Conte, I hate to stop you, but then you have sent your motion papers, your relating notice of motion, which we have. I want it verbatim as it is recorded. These are the reliefs that you're seeking. And it does not appear you're going by that. It appears that you have your own set of papers which you're reading from. And it does not make for a smooth following of the events this morning. I have to constantly go through it to decipher where you are heading for or where you're going. These are motion papers that were sent long before, and we need to go strictly by them. If you are calling for an amendment, you have to make the necessary application.
My Lord,
I don't know for my colleagues, they may wish to.
Yes, Dr. Conte. Yes, my Lord.
There are 9 reliefs also.
9 reliefs.
9.
Yes.
I was expecting that maybe for coherence, you would have just referred to the 9 reliefs and then you proceed. There is no law which says or rule which says you have to start to the first relief. But I was expecting that every council has its own style or approach when it comes to making submissions on the various reliefs. But the reliefs that for us on paper are 9 reliefs. So are you going by the 9 reliefs? Or do you intend to go by some and you don't go by some? Or you are proceeding on all 9 reliefs?
To put the case for the plaintiff. I take what your Lordship and the Chief Justice has said. That was my style when I was at the bar, even when I sat on the bench. I take the papers as having been read, but a recent experience in this very court by one of your learned brothers, he wanted me to move move the motion. I said, I thought you were right. He said, no, move the motion. That's my present insistence or attempt to read the motion is born of that experience in this very court. One of your brothers who was residing here is now on the panel. Stopped me and said, no, move the motion. I said, my brother, I thought you had read it. I take it you've read it. Then I can
that is one, we read it, but then if you want to read it, read what is in the motion papers. That all of us concerned do have before us. The one dated 28th November 2022. Even if you're going to read it, it does not appear that that is what you're reading.
I'm grateful, my Lord. My present posture is informed by my experience at the hands of one of your learned brothers. I was used to it when I was at the bar here, and when I sat on the bench in the jurisdiction. I take it before I go to court and read the papers. Council movement, well, let's go.
It makes good information for everybody here present if you read it. So that's why it's there. If you're going to adopt the attitude of reading it, the practice of reading it has to be verbatim of what is stated. Perhaps your colleague is in a better position to help you.
Well, I am relieved and heartened to hear your lordships have read the motion. I'll move on to our substantive case.
Okay.
My Lord, before I move forward, may I begin with your indulgence, state at the outset what this case is not about. This case, we say respectfully, is not about the merits or the demerits of proportional representation system of voting. We note learned counsel for the defendant has prayed in aid, without any evidence, I may say, that it is a system practiced by the majority of member states of the United Nations and most of the stable democracies in Scandinavia. We have evidence of that. We are not attacking the merits or the demerits of proportional representation as a system of voting. At the heart of this case, as outlined in the case of the plaintiffs, is the crucial issue of whether or not the 2023 elections for ordinary members of parliament and for councillors of respective wards in local authorities, whether or not, that's the crucial issue, whether the multi-tier elections for 2023 should be held on a proportional representation basis. That is what this case is about. And this issue, this crucial issue, in our respectful submission and view, strikes at the very heart of the rule of law. That is to say, whether we as a country are governed by the rule of law. This is a litmus test in our respectful view in this case. I hasten to add, I and to make clear that by the laws of this country, particularly its highest law, the Constitution 1991, as amended, proportional representation system of voting is not, and I emphasize, it's not an alternative system of public elections in this country. It is not. When you like, you turn it on, you turn it off. No. Section 38A, which introduced proportional representation system of voting, in the Constitution Amendment Act of 2021, of 2001, I beg your pardon, number 15 of that year, provide pertinently as follows. Just read it, it's plain and simple. Established. Emphasize that constituencies have not been established in accordance with subsection 3 of section 30. For the purposes of such elections, the President may, after consultation with the Director of the Electoral Commission, direct that such elections shall be conducted on the basis of the existing districts in a manner to be known as the district block system instead of national representation basis. Therefore reasonable to conclude that the system for electing ordinary members of Parliament is on a constituency basis, and section 38 of the Constitution, whose side note read, not part of the law but for guidance, which is part of the law, but it is pertinent. It is therefore reasonable to conclude that by the constitutional scheme, the election of ordinary members of Parliament shall be on a constituency basis, not district block, not proportional representation, on a constituency basis. And the side note to that section reads, constituencies and elections. And the section provides magisterially as follows. Sierra Leone shall be divided into constituencies for the purpose of electing the members of Parliament referred to in paragraph D of section 1 of section 74. That is to say, ordinary members of Parliament. As the Electoral Commission, acting with the approval of Parliament, signified by resolution of Parliament, may prescribe. It is therefore respectfully submitted that the power granted by section 38A amending the Constitution to the President to direct elections to be held on a proportional representation basis is not, I emphasize, is not untrammeled or free-standing. For that matter. That is to say, that power granted the President must be exercised lawfully within the parameters of the Constitution, the highest law. That is to say, exercised within the context stated in the Constitution itself, in the section itself, where no constituencies have been established. We think that is a controlling provision before President can trigger or direct the Electoral Commission, or anybody for that matter, to hold public elections in this country by proportional representation system. And the section itself is the conditions within which and subject to which the power may be exercised, namely where no constituencies have been established. This case is not about the limits of that power, it can lawfully be exercised. This case is about, I beg your pardon, it's about the limits of that power when it can be lawfully exercised. In this case, I was running ahead of myself in anticipating the objection from my learned friend. This case is not about any advice given to the President or any authority which by section 53, subsection 3 is shielded from review by any court with respect including your Lordship's court. That is a constitutional provision. We are not challenging any advice given by any person, be it the Electoral Commission or any other person. We are saying the directive to order the Electoral Commission to hold the June 2023 elections in this country on proportional representation basis in the circumstances that now exist. I'll come on to this shortly. With the lawful. So it's not, I'm glad your Lordship asked me to go on with the case, not dealing with the objection by my learned friend. I came prepared for that as well, but I took it, I had anticipated it. It was with respect to misconception of section 53. Section 53, subsection 3, is what your Lordship would call an ouster clause. It outs the jurisdiction if its conditions are met. And it is one ouster, courts generally frown on the ousting of their jurisdiction, and it is strictly interpreted. We say in context, 53 is a red herring and must be ignored. It takes no one any thought. We are not challenging, we are not querying, we are not asking a Lordship to sit judgment over any advice given by either the Electoral Commission or anybody. So the President, we are saying his directive to the Electoral Commission to hold the elections of June 23 on a proportional representation basis is not fair with the Constitution itself, particularly Section 38A as amended. The conditions stated therein are not, as as I stand here and speak, present to warrant the recourse to that section. The case respect is plainly and simply about the decision of the Electoral Commission, albeit on a directive from the President, to hold the forthcoming 2023 general elections on the basis of proportional representation rather than on constituency basis. That's all we are saying. We are not saying only we are five. We are subject to somebody's consultation. No. Therefore, we say the claim or objection on behalf of the defendant that this court lacks jurisdiction to entertain the case by the plaintiff by reason of section 53(3) is with respect wholly misconceived and specious and simply a gross mischaracterization of what the plaintiff's case is about. Section 53 cannot, in context, bear the weight my learned friend is seeking to place on it. It will crumble under the weight. It cannot bear it. I bring respectfully to your attention the case of the United Kingdom Supreme Court when it sat en banc on the application of Miller, appellant, against the Prime Minister, respondent. Cherry and others, respondent. My Lord,
Can you go over the citation?
pardon?
Can you repeat the citation?
Yes, I shall indeed, but we will, in due course, make copies available. I think copies are available. My learned colleague here has to make copies, if only by way of supplementary list of authority. You have it, fellow? Supplementary list. It's there. I can recite it again, the citation.
Have you supplied the other side?
The copies?
Yeah.
Yes. They have it, yes. I mentioned it
Even now that you're mentioning it, it's really good for us to have copies of it.
copies, yes. In the registry, I'm told, has copies for your lordship's perusal.
Could I have a copy, please? Is it there? I don't have it. We don't have copies.
Gentlemen, you have copies?
We have it.
Thank you.
Yes, Doctor.
But that case is instructive.
Where should I find that case in this supplementary list of authorities? Where could I find that case?
Where can you find the case?
Yeah.
It's in the
Yes.
Thank you. In that case, the United Kingdom Supreme Court had to examine on an appeal the threshold issue of whether or not prime ministerial advice monarch, the late Queen Elizabeth II, God bless her, on the exercise of the prerogative to prorogue Parliament. They have to examine the threshold issue of whether that advised by the Prime Minister to Her Majesty was justiciable or not. Lady Hay, the President of the Court, sitting with a full court, the complement of 11, I think, which means that the judges are listed there, gave the unanimous judgment of the court. She stated inter alia, I just go forward, I refer your lordship to paragraph 33. She started off by mentioning the old chestnut of the Inland Commissioners of Revenue, ex parte National Federation of Self-Employed. The parochial dictum in that case. And she continued, it is in my view not sufficient answer to say that judicial review of actions of officers of government, department, or departments of central government is unnecessary because they are answerable to Parliament for the way in which they carry on their functions. They are accountable to Parliament for that, for what they do, so far as the efficiency and policy. And of that, Parliament is the only judge. They are responsible to a court of justice for the lawfulness of what they do, and of that, the court is the only judge. I think that is the lesson and the history we learn. Courts have Parliament fought with the court to see who is supreme. We have in the UK constitutional parliamentary supremacy. We have here constitutional supremacy. And you, as the plaintiffs have rightly invoked your interpretative jurisdiction to determine, it's only to you, everyone is answerable. Nobody can ask your power to do that to you, whether any action taken by the government, the president, is lawful or not. He cannot himself determine it. He cannot preclude you from determining it. And in the context of this case, section 53 cannot, I say cannot avail. We are saying that decision is not lawful, it's not within the parameters of section 38A as amended. And your lordship, this court is the only judge for that, no one else. And nobody can take that jurisdiction from you, which the supreme law of this country has granted you. Not to the president, not to Parliament, but to your lordship, sitting in your interpretative capacity pursuant to section 124 of the Constitution. Your original and exclusive jurisdiction. Nobody else can exercise it. No authority, only you. Not even the president himself can say, I make it, I say so. No. This is not a country, if I may use the aphorism of Humpty Dumpty, where Humpty Dumpty said, what I choose them to be. The question is, who is master? We don't live in that country, or such a country. And it is your lordships, it is your task in this case. We urge you vindicate the principle of the rule of law. That is what the princes are seeking at your hand. What does the law say? Not what anyone says, however high and mighty you may be. Does it accord with the law? That's what we're asking you to interpret. And I adopt with approbation, if I may, and respectfully urge on this court, the statement by Lord Hale again, as President in the case I just referred to. And I quote, "The court will be performing its proper function under the Constitution, indeed, by ensuring that the government does not use the power of prerogation unlawfully with the effect of preventing Parliament from carrying out this function. The court will be giving effect." The paragraph. I didn't mark your copy. I wanted you to read and observe yourself, but I think it's after particular before. Yeah, I could see it. Yes. And if I may, and we say so respectfully, this court will be performing its proper function by ensuring that the President does not direct the Electoral Commission to hold the forthcoming elections in the country on a proportional representation basis when the underlying conditions for that are not present. We have constituencies in this country as I speak. I'm not sure if Parliament is sitting today, but if you go there and pull out any member of Parliament, it will readily tell you, I represent constituency this or that. There are constituencies. You cannot, in the face of that fact, irrefutable fact, if I may say so, order general elections to be held on a proportional representation basis. It will thrashing our constitution, the rule of law, and if I may say so, democracy. The MPs are voted by members of Parliament. As I say, this case is not about merits or the merits of proportional representation, but one of its glaring chink in its armor is the voters don't vote for candidates. They vote for a list submitted by political parties to the Electoral Commission, and they get MPs in the order on which their names appear on the list. Voters want to say, this is my MP, I know him, I voted for him. Not some faceless, somebody I don't know, whose name happened to be on the voters list, or on the candidates list to the Electoral Commission. That is not democratic. But as I say again, it is not about the merits and the demerits. I just say it by way of an aside and I move on. We say there are two conditions precedent which must be satisfied to bring Section 38A and its proportional representation system into play. The first is a date for the general elections of members of Parliament has been appointed. And two, no general election of members of parliament. And the second is no constituencies have been established in accordance with 38(3) of the Constitution. Then, and only then, can the President direct or have recourse to proportional representation basis. We say the determination of these two crucial issues is on the evidence and an analysis of the law. Namely, whether a date has been appointed for the 2023 general elections, and secondly, whether there are present or not present constituencies in this country at this present time. And we say again respectfully and resoundingly, the answer must resoundingly, yes. Dates have been announced, and there are, as I speak, if Parliament is sitting, members of Parliament representing constituencies. Excuse me a moment. Thank you. It is a fact, we dare say, that the press statement, which is already in evidence before in the affidavit of the first plaintiff, the press statement of 21st October 2022 by the second respondent, the chairman of the Electoral Commission, 24th June 2023 has been set for general elections. It's a fact. So the date has been announced. The date has been set. The first condition has been satisfied. It is also a fact, as evidence, we just don't say it or make a reference, but it is before you that the first plaintiff represents, Honorable Mr. Abdul Kabu represents a current and existing constituency in the present 5th Parliament of Sierra Leone. That's a fact. It's undeniable, irrefutable. So there are constituencies, and it says on oath, I am a sitting member of Parliament. I represent a constituency in the, I think, Kafubulam Lungu Potlako district. Nobody can deny that. Nobody can say that constituency does not exist. However, we say, and I say it with regret, there is no countervailing evidence, not even a scintilla of evidence from my learned friend on the side to refute what is the evidence put forward by the plaintiff, that the plaintiff, the first plaintiff is a member of Parliament, the second plaintiff, Mrs. Coker, represents a ward to their constituencies, and nobody can deny that. She was elected in that election, and that ward is still in being. She gives the number of ward she represents. And I respectfully invite your lordships to take judicial notice, as you are entitled to do. The current fifth parliament sitting up in Tower Hill is constituted by members of parliament representing existing constituencies. It's not like we have a blank slate. No one there. These internally displaced citizens or persons, they are all over the place. They are not in their constituencies. No. There is no evidence, none at all, not the slightest, from the defendants to contradict these irrefutable facts that are put in evidence on behalf of the plaintiff. We have to say respectfully that any decision to hold the general elections of 2023 outside the parameters of Section 38 of the Constitution would be unlawful in the face of the evidence and the law. It would not be lawful. There are constituencies. A date has been announced. Ergo, no PR. We go by Constitution. In fact, that is the default position of this country since 1962, soon after independence. And even before, when we had a multiplicity of political parties, the people of this country have been used to trundling out to polling stations to vote for their candidate, not for parties, for their candidate. The candidate may represent parties, but not by list. That has been the history. And it was the same until the unfortunate events in April 1992, when regrettably this country lost its way. Civil war compounded by whatever. And the population was destabilized. Communities were upset, uprooted, scattered all over the country. Some took refuge abroad, and those that stayed had a harrowing time. When, before the military government itself, the military junta, indeed the rebellion before they left, stepped down office, passed a decree which introduced proportional representation system. And this was validated by President Kaba when he brought in the constitutional amendment which gave us Section 38A, which provides for proportional representation. 38A was a product of its time, coming from a war-torn country with destabilized people, no settled communities, let's have the constituencies, let's have the elections and proportional representation. Everybody went along. 1996 was proportional representation. 2001, I believe, 2002. I was in charge of speaking about that. 2002 was again unproportional, given the recent experience of the country. But since then, my lords, nobody can deny this, we have settled steadily to constituency elections, and the immediate past three elections in this country have always been held on a constituency basis, including the 2018 election, which constituted the present parliament. It was on a constituency basis. Are we hankering back to those dreadful days when our citizens so pronounced. We don't have constituency. God forbid, may they continue to be in vain as a mark of our stability, as we march on the highway of democracy. We do have constituency, not proportional representation. We say respectfully again, it should be in the most unusual and exceptional circumstances. And this is stated expressly in section 38A of the Constitution that could justify the resort to proportional representation system. No constituencies exist. God forbid, we hope the tender shoots of our democracy that have sprung up will thrive and survive. And like birds will never die. Winter may come, rainy season may come, but in the springtime in which we sprout again, our democracy will sprout again to march up, to consolidate the stability and peace of this country. Let us go back to the bad old days, which section 38 advises. No constituencies have been established. May those days never come again. I say this with some diffidence, but it's important to note that up to the time I'm still standing in this court, there has been no reason or explanation given by the defendants or the government for that matter for the change the form of election. No reason has been given. None. Maybe you are pretty happy. Nobody has told me. I've never listened to SNBC to hear it. Reading the papers. Government or the Electoral Commission says proportional representation will be for the following reasons. Just because of the directive of the President to the Electoral Commission. That is not the law of this country. The law of this country stipulates conditions which must be satisfied. And we say respectfully, those conditions are not present. The first, the date has been set. The second, there are no constituencies. We say that has not been made. There are constituencies. Why not have months for elections? For 5 months. Some political parties are even in disarray. But time is marching on. But nobody has come to explain to the ordinary suffering masses or the public of this country why we want to change the system of election. Other than whatever the statement from the electoral commission. Why? Proportional representation around this time. No reason has been given. One for my planet. None. I dare say the electorate and indeed the general public must be confused and wondering why proportional representation this time around. Why? Nobody has explained it. Why? We have a tried and tested method. Some call it first past the post. Some call it my constituency. Why go now to a strange creature which we tried in the not so halcyon days after the end of the Civil War? Why take us back? No. And I beg your lordships to say we cannot, without reason, we can only do so if we are within the law. And the proposal to have those elections on a peer basis the proposals do not clarify or explain the change of the form of election that will warrant proportional representation. representation. And the Speaker respectfully failed to tell Parliament there are conditions. He just made a oracular statement. It is already part of our laws. It is indeed, but it is not freestanding. Conditions are there in 38 which must be fulfilled before the proposed representation is brought into effect. And they did not in this case satisfy those conditions. That's why we are here, respectfully for your Lordship's court, to guarantee the rule of law, to pronounce on it. We are a country governed by the rule of law, particularly the highest law. 38 years in these conditions, a date has been announced, no constituency. First, conditions are right, but there are constituencies, and on the evidence before your Lordships, there are constituencies and wards. Nothing for my learned friend. Instead, what the act that came out of the debate finally did, it piggybacked, as it was Section 38A, as part of our electoral rules. But no reference to the conditions in the press statement of the reason. Admitted the Section 38A of our Constitution, proportional representation is indeed provided as a form of election. We don't dispute that. Our case is the conditions stated in the very section 38A are not present, particularly the overriding condition, absence of constituencies. There are constituencies currently in the country which constitute the current fifth parliament of Sierra Leone. The case for the plaintiff, Subtract A is not self-standing, self-executing, it's not freestanding, self-executing, just say, Shibule Patiti, you get a pass. No, there are conditions in it. We say conditions are conditions precedent which must be present for the deployment of proportional representation system in this country. And they are not all present, particularly the constituencies. There are constituencies. We say unreservedly and with emphasis that this condition, the absence of constituencies, is not present now in this country to warrant proportional representation system. And indeed, from the evidence before this court, it is impossible to conclude any reason to warrant the change to proportional representation system in the circumstances of this case. I think it's Americans who have everything. If things work, don't fix it. Our constituency system is not broken. Why do you want to fix it? Why a forge? Because there is only a forge. FUDG is a forge. Why do you want to use it? It's not guaranteeing our democracy. It's not enhancing it. And the excuse as impracticability or the impracticability of the second defendant to complete the revision and possible delimitation exercise in the country would warrant holding the next elections on a proportional representation basis. They issued a statement. The revision exercise immediately stopped. Nobody stopped them. My Lord, I really beg your pardon. Yes, I'm constrained by in my days at the bar, I would walk up and down here at the bench, of course. When I stand still, it affects my cardiovascular system. It was affected at my age, my Lord. I need want to move. I beg your pardon? You want to move? Want to be moving? Exactly. Well, this thing I led an artist in the bar. It's not the American bar. But at the bar, we had no microphone. Contraptions were not there. Our voice is carried. We had no microphone. I do beg your pardon for the instruction moving away from the mic. We say it is an excuse. To the people of this country. Nothing has been put forth before your Lordship by way of evidence to justify it. Apart from attorney making, I should be careful what I say, by learned friend referencing documents which are not even in evidence. As your Lordships know very well, evidence is that which goes to prove or disprove a fact in issue tendered before a court, either by viva voce or documentary. None from them. Not even an affidavit from the Electoral Commissioner while he abandoned the revision exercise. And now they trump up just an excuse, calling it inability. Self-imposed inability, self-imposed impracticality. Nobody imposed any impracticality on them or made it impossible. They did not say. But the Learned Council put forward. And it is not evidence. Sorry. The midterm census evidence in population changes. We say, and I say categorically, that is not evidence before a lodging. It's Learned Council's so-called reference document. Reference document is not evidence. It must come on attestation. And also affirmation by way of affidavit or viva voce from that box contended. Learned Council clipped it to his case for the defendant, and he wants to say that is evidence. Please, this is abusing his language, which is not evidence, which is elementary. Evidence is something that is standard. Eyeglass, for which... Yes, sir.
Evidence attached to an affidavit.
They are.
Yes. And so if you feel strongly that there is no evidence, then
They have to be...
sorry, sir. If you feel strongly that there is no evidence according to what you are saying, then you can test the document of the affidavit in the witness box. You understand?
It's not evidence.
Sorry.
It's not evidence with the greatest respect. I think that's a couple of things to look up what evidence is in law.
Carry on, Dr. Conte. Let us be progress. Carry on, sir.
No, it's the any affidavit reference in those documents if they were by way of an affidavit exhibiting them, then they will be properly before your lordship's court. But that is not enough. In this case, I respectfully say not an arbiter of an ounce should be attached to it. It's just a document for what it is for. I wouldn't even read it if I were in your lordship's position. Affidavit, that's there, then properly.
Yes, so Dr. Conte, you're saying that the court should not consider it at all.
Yes.
As evidence.
Absolutely.
That's the position you're taking.
No,
So the issue of meat does not come in.
no, should not be considered. It's just the time and waste of paper. And
So not even clean it. So I should not even clean it. Meaning, I look at it, have some idea of what it contains, and then I remove it.
you'll be wasting your time if you were to read it.
Allow Justice Rama, just we are bound by Rule 92. The defendant doesn't have to file an affidavit. Everything he wants to say should be contained in his statement of case. And I think this is what we've done. The defendant has no right to file an affidavit unless we allow this in extraordinary circumstances. For instance, in 2018. But strictly speaking, all you have to say, as far as the defendant is concerned, has to be in the statement of case. That's Rule 92.
It's not part of their case.
Look, I won't go to that, but all I'm saying is that whatever it is that we should say has to be in the statement of case, according to Rule 92. The plaintiff files an affidavit in support of his motion, and then he files another affidavit verifying the statement of case. But the defendant has no duty to file an affidavit. All he does is say whatever it is he wants to say in the statement of case, and then you can reply if you so desire. You reply in paper as well. You can also, of course, sign it up as counsel at the bar. But you can also file a reply to the defendant's statement of case if, for instance, some issue has been raised there which was not contended by you at all. That's what I was supposed to point out, that there will be an opportunity for whoever filed the statement of case to be cross-examined in the witness box.
What was to stop the second defendant has the from the inability and the impracticability to complete the revision exercise.
Dr. Mlekote, we made mention of we taking judicial notice of you said we should take judicial notice of the fact that MPs in Parliament were elected on single member constituency basis.
That's not the passage.
You said we should take judicial notice of the fact that MPs appointed and elected by single member constituency form. That was what you said. So we should take judicial notice of that. I'm just saying, if you say we should take judicial notice of that, even though you said that there was no reference made in the affidavit, you know, of the midterm population census, you said we should ignore it. Is it not appropriate for us to take judicial notice of that too? Of the midterm census. Oh yes.
My learned friend has not come by the proper route to put evidence which you are entitled to consider. That's all I'm making. The second defendant will be present in court.
We have not said any of that.
Thank you. I was again on the inability or impracticability claimed by the second defendant to complete the revision exercise. We say with respect that does not justify holding the general elections on a proportional representation basis. It is a requirement of law that these constituencies do not exist. And we go further to say, even if the revision exercise had been completed, they may or may not result in the delimitation of constituencies. But they certainly, the exercise certainly does not result or affect an abolition of existing constituencies. It does not. So those constituencies exist until and unless they are replaced by a recommendation by the second defendant, which is approved by parliamentary resolution establishing new constituencies. That is not the case. We don't have any evidence for that. So he says no more than an excuse. Shouldn't have given me too much. Some credence to call it an excuse. It does not justify our aim. Or it's impracticable for us to start killing the constituencies which exist in law and the order since the last election. No. Otherwise, suppose the inability and practicability leads to the extinguishment of existing constituencies. I only just have to say it to see how risible that proposition is. It's laughable. We therefore submit that proportional representation system of election to be used in the forthcoming elections in the present circumstances. Cannot avail. Given the overriding requirement in section 38A, where no constituencies exist. The population will increment changes noted. If your lordships want to take judicial notice of it, even though it's not your evidence, do not. The population changes do not, in and of themselves, extinguish existing constituencies. They will make a case for increasing.
Has anybody said that the current constituencies are extinguished? Did anybody say the current constituencies are extinguished?
Well, that is the presupposition.
Nobody has said that.
Not
before.
Pregnant and implicit in the proposal, in the statement of the second defendant, not
until they are reviewed,
if
they exist.
Thank you, my Lord. Thank you, my Lord. Until they are reviewed and delimited out of existence.
And it does not appear to me that that is the case of the other side.
That is what?
The case of the other side.
You putting their case?
No, I'm not putting their case.
I just thought you guys are putting their case.
Of course, we read good papers. Even what you're saying, we read. So,
well, they haven't said that.
Bring it back.
I haven't read it yet. That may be their case.
Let us see.
When London Council come to they put it not without some help.
Carry on, sir.
Yes. The power to review and delimit constituencies granted by Section 38(4) of the Constitution does not spell the doom or abolition of existing constituencies. That's what you're saying. We may review within such a period. We may delimit the circumstances where until they have been replaced or extinguished by a resolution of Parliament following a report on the review. That is how it works in law. The Electoral Commission will review, we work changes, we make recommendations, which form the basis of resolution in Parliament, which when adopted to establish new constituencies or abolish existing constituencies. And we don't have that. There is no resolution before. Population changes noted may warrant new constituencies. That is not with prejudice to existing constituencies. It doesn't make the case to exist. You may say, well, because of the changes, we're going to have more constituency. Yes, but that is not what we have. Well, that's all I want to say on the 38A and its operation, respectfully. Now I turn to the unconstitutionality of statutory instrument number 83, by which regulations were purportedly made to give effect to the proportional representation system. Having been voted in Parliament to have PR, proportional representation basis, as part of the Public Elections Act, now belatedly seek succor through the instrumentality, if I may say so, statutory instruments, number 83. And they are both number 83, 83, by the way. One for Parliament, one for local elections. It's only painstakingly going through. But the Gazette on its face called them both number 83 and number 83 of 16 since November, I think. The gazette number is there. We are moved to number 83. We say you cannot, through the medium or auspices of statutory instrument, validate proportional representation, which, as I say, for Washington Road, was given the thumbs down in Parliament. Parliament said, no, we don't want it. And the defendant, second defendant particularly, rely on section 33 of the Constitution for its powers to issue these instruments, which we say are unconstitutional. This is the anchor we want to find. Statutory instruments on. And this is what section 33 says. Subject to the provisions of this Constitution. Subject to the provisions of this Constitution. The Electoral Commission shall be responsible for the conduct and supervision of the registration of voters for all public elections and referenda, and for that purpose shall have power to make regulations by statutory instrument, powers to make regulations by statutory instrument for the registration of voters, the conduct of presidential, parliamentary, or local government elections and referenda, and other matters connected with, including regulations for voting by proxy. Arguably, this section 33 confers power on the second defendant to make regulations. But we say respectfully, those regulations cannot change the format, form, or mode of election. They cannot come by regulations. For the election of Parliament, it changes by regulation. We say on behalf of the plaintiff that to change the format of election for Parliament and local authorities is a deliberate matter for the legislation and not for registration, primary registration. For primary registration and not subsidiary registration. Accordingly, it is submitted to change the format and mode of election by statutory instrument, as these instruments purport to do, would be plain ultra-virus. Forgive me, I mean no disrespect, some bureaucrat, faceless bureaucrat, sitting in a heavily lit office, makes regulation, changing the form, how they are going to elect MPs and local councillors. It is a matter for primary registration, brought before Parliament by a bill, debated and enacted by law. We mark as a footnote the defendant Parliament attempted to do that properly, but they did not fare well on the floor of Parliament. The proposal was given the chance now. Now you have recourse to primary, to secondary, to educated legislation, which can never happen. To give an officer the power to change how people are going to vote, he cannot do it. And we say further, by Section 33, the power granted to the Electoral Commission, and Section 171 of the Public Elections Act 2002 is to conduct and supervise. Conduct and supervise. And not to determine the format and mode of election. You are given power to conduct and supervise election. You are not given the power to change how you're going to vote. No. That power is reserved for the legislature as a deliberate act of Parliament. We say that to change the format or mode of election is a matter for primary legislation reserved to the legislature, and which respect cannot properly be the subject or matter for delegated legislation or statutory instrument as in the present case. The word conduct in Section 33 itself, we say it does not include prescribing the mode and form of election or changing the electoral system. The word conduct in Section 33 to make implications for the conduct that it does not include. And therefore to do so by statutory instrument as claimed in this for Parliament and local government has supported the attempted by the statutory instrument would be playing ultra vires the powers granted in Section 33 of the Constitution. These powers are limited to conducting and supervising, not to change the mode or format of elections. Section 68 of the Public Elections Act, we say respectfully, enumerates what constitutes conduct by Electoral Commission. Section 68. Nowhere in the entire Section 68 is it suggested that the Electoral Commission can, of its own volition or instruction, change the format of the electoral system. The Commission can do that. It's a matter for primary legislation by Parliament. With respect, not even the President on his own can do it. He cannot. It's is there how we do it. We submit, therefore, that the power purportedly exercised through the statutory instrument is in excess of the power conferred by Section 33 of the Constitution and Section 171 of the Public Elections Act, and accordingly are ultra vires. Respectfully submitted that Section 38 of the Constitution, in particular, imposes conditions precedent to warrant holding any public election on a PR basis. And this is where constituencies have not been established. This condition precedent was not present when the second defendant made his press release announcing that the 2023 elections would be held on a PR basis. For the simple reason that there are constituencies in the country and in the current fifth Parliament of Parliament. Finally, I feel and urge your lordships respectfully to grant the release sought by the plaintiffs in their notice of originating summons. I thank you.
Before you take your seat, sorry, sir. Yes, but to continue, before you take your seat, you recall I drew your attention, it's not so initially when you started. When you started making your submissions, I drew your attention to the reliefs. I told you there are 9 reliefs. Not so, yes, let me just draw your attention to relief number 6.
What's your full name?
Well, not 6 as it should be if
Father, there is a phone buzzing which is distracting me. I don't know who this is.
okay.
If you want, can we put it off? Yes, please.
Yes, the relief number 6.
Yes.
A declaration that the entirety of Section 38A of the Constitutional Amendment of 2001 does not provide nor contemplate local council elections. The word basis on which local authorities are last elected is a subsisting and lawful basis on which any public elections involving local authorities can be held and not by the proportional representation system. My question is it the same argument? Does the same argument go for in respect to local council elections regarding Section 38A?
Does 38A does not contemplate local council?
Yes, but I see it has remained a relief. That's why I'm bringing it to your attention.
That's why we say we had recourse to the statutory instrument, which in our submission is ultra vires and lawful. You can't change it from regular parliamentary or local by statutory instrument. You can't.
Because you are asking us to make a declaration.
Yes.
So that is why I have brought it to your attention. So maybe you address us on it, even if it is brief.
My declaration is simply to say that the first plaintiff was elected on the basis of a constituency in 2018. The second plaintiff was elected operate as a councillor in a ward that is still in existence in the Freetown City Council. Also, but they now did a double take and tried to do a bicycle flip backward and brought in the statutory instrument. They realized that it does not cover. So they tried constituency works, a lot of constituencies works for part of constituency. So they brought in the statutory instrument, which we say still is unlawful. It's ultra-virus. Section 33 does not give power to the Electoral Commission to change the mode or format of election. It can only conduct and supervise. And in conducting and supervising elections, it cannot change. It cannot go through and say, hey, yes, you all stand behind the candidate of your choice. And the former like is done in other countries. We have secret ballot for a candidate on a ballot paper. Long may that system endure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My mic is. Thank you, Dr.
That I have written a reply in answer to the objection. I can forward it to the court, give a copy to my learned friend, because I treated it in my submission on the motion. 53 subsection 3 does not avail. It cannot shield.
I think you were right with it.
Well, I thought elaborately was going to move to the objection, so I had prepared a written response, which I think I took it in my stride in moving the motion. Unless you want to let me know on it.
19 and 20 therein. And we will draw the court's attention and possibly style it in our own way to say that is a preemptive strike. A preemptive strike. Even for the submission made as at the time of filing, that instrument was not law in our country, or the imported instrument was no law in our country. An instrument was laid before Parliament, and there are parliamentary procedures to challenge any instrument laid before Parliament. And those procedures I submit based on the case of SC number 2 of 2005, that's the case of Samuel Norman against Dr. Sama Esbanya and others. Judgment of the Honorable Justice Tola Thompson, of blessed memory, dated the 31st of August 2005. Wherein unreported, that this court, my lord, cannot inquire into parliamentary proceedings. I further rely on section 94, specifically subsection 2 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. And it was during the interim, further referred to section 94, 2 of the Constitution. A document was laid, and in the interim, an application filed. And that document is a statutory instrument. As I speak, in that application, no certificate of maturity of that document was filed. certificate of maturity of that document was filed.
Lordship to take judicial notice that the certificate of such document was subsequently issued on the 19th of December 2022, long after the filing of the application. The certificate of issue was certificate of maturity that was issued on the 19th of December 2022. I further and finally state that maybe what matured on the 19th was not what the plaintiffs are speaking about. If you look at their case, my lord, it is titled The Unconstitutionality of Statutory Instrument number 83 and 83 of 16th November 2022. No such documents exist in Sierra Leone as I speak. Not even as a proposal, neither as a law. It was published in the Gazette based on what is exhibited, and it is statutory instrument number 13 of 2022, which was published. I'm sorry, I don't know anybody free. You see now, what is published was what? What was published is statutory instrument number 13 of 2022, and the argument here is centered around statutory instrument number 83 and 83 of 16 November 2022. I'm saying there is no such document. Can you please go over it? What do you mean by no such document? I mean, 83, statutory instrument number 83 does not exist. What exists is statutory instrument number 13, if I may add, and 14 of 2022. We must be thorough when we come to the Supreme Court, my lord. What is now in existence is what? What was published is statutory instrument number 13 and 14 of 2022, dated 16th November 2022, and the not statutory instrument number 83 and 83 of 16th November 2022. I have been searching for that since the application was filed, my lords. The date is 16th November 2022, and it is statutory instrument number 13 and the second number 14, and not 83 and 83. And this is a court of law, my lord. I read my case with respect to that argument. I say no more, unless you want me to answer any specific question. Well, I mean, look at what was exhibited in the statement of the case. And what was exhibited? What was exhibited is statutory instrument number 13. Yes. And the argument profiled here is dealing with statutory instrument number 83. Well, the bundle of documents, the signature of you should have what is the correct version. In the statement of case, in the bundle, in the statement of case. I do agree. That is why we are saying we are not sure that the document that is in their bundle is the document they are discussing or arguing. Well, probably there's a typographical error. Well, then that should have been corrected. They may be talking of something which is not for you. General, Mr. Solicitor General, you have service with number 14 there. That's what? You have it. It came into being on the 19th of December, not at this time. There may have been changes when it went through Parliament. We don't know what exactly is in here. Is what we have as law. out there? What was exhibited to the students?
In words and in phrases, I have not checked word by word, phrase by phrase. I have not done that.
All right, okay. If you find out there's any difference, let us know.
My Lord, the first difference maybe is this of maturity. In fact, I would want to refer your Lordship to...
You see why I'm saying this is because sometimes we know the Gazette could be late, sometimes particular editions are being replaced with subsequent editions. I know that it's a matter of fact.
I do agree, my Lord. That is why when we come before you, this is the highest court in the land.
Yes.
And I will refer your Lordship to section 170 of the Constitution, subsection 7 thereof, which tells you the procedures. And that clearly states how statutory instrument becomes law. The law is in your bosom, my Lord. I need not waste time on that. But all the arguments here this afternoon was based on statutory instrument number 83. You said, and not what has been filed. You said just now that what was exhibited is the statutory instrument number 14 and 14. I see no exhibit on that. It's number 13. Only again 13 was exhibited. What was attached to their statement of case, not exhibit, sorry. It's attached to the last document at the back.
No, I cannot see it in my documents here. I cannot see it.
Registrar. The submission, the quoted submission involves around 82 and 83 also. Yeah, 83, which I say does not exist inside. If we refer to the wrong law, my Lord, we are referring to the wrong law. No other way. The wrong document is the wrong document. This is written and it was orally. So what now? Is it 13 and 14? 13 and 14. And this application was filed sometime in November. And today is the 9th of January. And we are lawyers.
Yes, Dr. Abdullah, we wanted to say something.
Commission has no power under Section 33 of the Constitution to make change to format as that instrument by whatever member called to change from
what your argument is clear. There's no need to emphasize it. It's clear.
Attention to consider that document to ensure that what we are discussing, we are all on the same level, not something different. This is what we're talking about, 83 and 83, and what is in Sierra Leone is 13 and 14, which became law long after the application has been filed.
Recording in progress.
I will further proceed, my Lord. In all of the arguments, before you proceed, colleagues, do you have 33 and 13, number 13 and 14 attached to the statement of case? I need you to check it now.
We did not. They exhibited start of the second the respondents to the electoral commission, not you. Yes, if you look at the bond filed by the secretary, you see it is here. That is one of the that's why I said to you, well, I don't know. They are saying they did not exhibit anything. Well, I don't know. What do we have here? The plaintiff exhibited one statutory instrument, which is let us move. You know that sometimes there was a head. This is the second tenant. As my lord, as my lord said, let us move chorus, as my lord says. My lords, we've addressed the 9th relief prayed for, and I shall be addressing the other reliefs to week. The first, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the 6th. First, third, fourth, fifth, 6th. Yes, my lord, jointly. I'll be addressing those release jointly on behalf of the first respondent. Yes, we heavily rely on our case file. And with respect to the trust of the interpretation sought before your lordship, trust of the interpretation sought vis-a-vis section 38A. The trust of the issue is whether there are existing constituencies which obviously could not trigger a direction that would lead to the PR system. What has not been analyzed in the plaintiff's case, my lord, is the proper and complete reading of the provisions of section 38, in this case A. Section 38A. And with your leave, my lords, if I may read so I place the necessary emphasis. Section 38A saying, we are under any law for the time being in force. Is that what it says in 638A? There is, you jump something there. As my lord
Lord pleases, let me. It's 38A1. 38A1, if I may clearly state. So, A1. It says, where under any law, for the time being in force, a date for a general election of members of parliament has been appointed, but constituencies have not been established in accordance with subsection B of section 38 for the purpose of such elections. For the purpose of such elections, the president may. It is clear from our case, my lord. It has been appointed for all elections. I may want to be brought. Of those elections, the date has been announced. In this case, it says such elections. Which elections in contemplation? In contemplation, my lord. Which elections? Between June 2024, 2023 elections. Sorry, my lord. 38 which elections? My lord, that is, I am just giving flesh to 38 because in this situation, the implication of 38, my lord, it is not talking, when it says such, it's talking about futuristic approach. Date has been announced. And for the purpose of elections that will be held based on those or that announcement. Is that a simple question? Which elections are we talking about? Now, in this situation, is the June 24, 2023 elections. For what? Members of Parliament. Members of Parliament. At this stage, I will limit myself to members of Parliament. I shall be dealing. There is a specific order with respect to local council which was raised by Justice Alusine Sisi. My lord, such elections are to be held on the 24th of June. The date has been announced. Now we find ourselves in a position wherein there has been a midterm census. Census is dealt with in section 38 of the Constitution. And the census results automatically alters our figures. In the population density. section 38, subsection 3, together with section 38, subsection 7. Referring to section 38A and 7, my lord. These are sections that deal with the inhabitants and the population density and the review of constituencies. I do not want to engage myself in reading the Constitution line by line and the rest of it, my lord. Further, my lord, I would want to fortify my argument in relying on, especially with the documents which are attached to our case, by relying on Rule 92. Because the census result published are attached, and Section 92 of the Supreme Court rules is very clear that what we need to do is to attach documents, and as long as we file an affidavit verifying our case, and nothing more. And that's what we did.
If I may ask, is there any relationship between Section 38 and 7?
My lord, I will crave the court's indulgence that these sections should be read together. You don't just read them in isolation. Otherwise, the essence and the effect.
Can you read them?
Yes, my lord.
I think they should be read conjunctively.
Yes, my lord. To be able to have a proper meaning and grasp of it.
That's your assertion.
That is my submission, my lord.
Yes, you can only see that if you read it.
My lord, Section 38, 1, 2, and 3 are mentioned in this situation. 3 states, the boundaries of each constituency shall be such that the number of inhabitants thereof is as nearly equal to the population quota as is reasonably practicable. The provisor says, provided that the number of inhabitants of such a constituency may be greater or lesser than the population quota, in order to take account of means of communications, geographical features, density of population, our emphasis, density of population, the distribution of different communities, the areas and boundaries of the chiefdoms, and other administrative or traditional areas. This is very, very important, my lord. And fourth tells you about the review. The Electoral Commission shall review the division of Sierra Leone into constituencies at intervals of not less than 5. That I'm sure is not a complaint. There is the submission here that has been correctly done. And the proviso is very clear. They are under. And if I may read, it provided that the commission, which is 7, my lord, for the purpose of this section, the number of inhabitants of Sierra Leone shall be ascertained by reference to the latest census of the population of Sierra Leone, held in pursuance of an act of parliament, or if no census has been so held, by reference to any available information which in the opinion of the Electoral Commission best indicates the number of those inhabitants. We now see the relevance of the census together with the issue of constituencies review and the limitations. This is the connection. And I must be quick to say it talks about the latest census.
I certainly cannot see any connection between 3
7. Cannot see the comment. My Lord, 3 deals with constituencies boundaries and the inhabitants thereof when it comes to the issue of reviewing constituency to be able to determine the population density in a particular area. If you look at the census results, my Lord, it tells you about the population density in different areas. There has been a tremendous shift from 2015 to date. And 7 is directing as to how the mathematical calculation, the numbers, should be done. That is why I am relating these sections with the latest census results. That is the guiding document that will assist the Commission to be able to review the constituencies. You go to the latest census act? You go to the one that was used, my Lord? Will guide us in the process, the latest census act. Unfortunately, I don't have it here. I don't know, but I think it should have come. There was an act, my Lord, as opposed to 2015 when the census was done by proclamation. In 2021, there was an act, the midterm census. But that's the act of the fact. There was an act. My Lord, that is the relation I am establishing. That's the relation I am establishing, my Lord. And it is this result which will necessitate a review. It is this result. With respect to some other issues dealing with the publications of the census results and the date of elections which have been announced. I don't want to delve into that at this stage, my Lord. Therefore, we are saying, with respect to 38E1, my Lord, the date which has been announced in this case, the elections which is to be held on the 24th of June 2023. Otherwise, you cannot announce a date for an election which has passed. You cannot, my Lord. You only announce a date for a futuristic event, and that has been done. Should be done and it's not done with the issue of the reasons or whatever. That is not why we are here, to give reasons why constituencies were not reviewed. That is not part of any of the application or the relief. Hopefully, they may want to assist the court, but that is not part of the relief. We are here based on the fact that the constitutionally elected president has acted in accordance with the law. If there are no possibilities, the Constitution makes provision, and that he has exercised. The issue of his authority to deal with that will be dealt with by Mr. Kama. So the interpretation, my Lord, given by the plaintiffs
is limited. Since the arguments put before this court is limited to war situation. That was clearly said, and it's in the documents, that the provisions will be invoked when there is war. That, I submit, was not the intention of Parliament, because we're not aiming for it. Sorry. Now I'm referring to the submission. Well, I don't think you say the provision expressing that. What he said was that it was done at that time. That was the comment. We give the context. In other words, that's when it is passed. And then I will. It was not the war. Maybe all laws passed during that time, my lord, we could not relate and say because they were passed during the war days, they deal with those situations only. I am submitting that they are not limited. Otherwise, the drafters would have clearly stated that. They would have clearly stated that. And it has no business still to continue to exist in our constitution. It has no business if that was specifically made for that period. It has no business to still live with us. And it is a constitutional document and it lives with us. One may understand when you say in circumstances wherein there are situations wherein the constituencies could not be reviewed. You invoke that provision, and that, I believe, is what has been done now. It does not specifically state any circumstances. It's for this court, my lord, that taken into consideration. Sorry, sir.
The provenance of proportional representation voting. It has its origin in a military decree of 1965. And then later, because of the war situation, I'm not in 38-1 was geared to a war situation. I didn't say that.
But we pointed that out to you already.
But I didn't say that.
Thank you. Those situations that you could use 38A1, my lord, are not clearly itemized in the Constitution. And one thing I would want to draw the court's attention to, my lord, Constitution are meant to stand the test of time, necessitating the doctrine of posterity. Constitution are not made just because of the situation today, and after that situation, we forget about it. This is a constitutional provision. It has been there since it was amended, and it still continues to live with us. And posterity today is telling us that even in economic and crisis situation, even in time management situation, you could invoke a provision, especially when the Public Elections Act, which has just been passed, has adopted the ECOWAS protocol, which tells you you cannot amend legislations 6 months towards an elections. We may have been caught by that, and constituency review and delimitations, my lord, definitely is a very serious amendment in any law in any country when elections are approaching. We have to be very careful with that. We have to be very careful with that.
Are you making a submission or are you...
It is a submission, my lord. I submit, my lord, that the Public Elections Act and the ECOWAS protocols
by which we are all guided with respect to good governance. Very clear. I'm mindful about legislating submit to the Public Elections Act, my lord, of 2022, and the ECOWAS protocols, my lord, limits legislative amendments with respect to electoral laws. With respect to electoral laws. The 6 months towards elections. It is therefore good governance, in fairness and in good governance, not to have attempted to proceed with any law, in this case, review of constituencies, my lord. Delimitations of those constituencies which have been reviewed. Based on the latest census results, which has been announced, and the appointed date for such elections. Senior and to according the respect of former Honorable Justice or Chief Justice, was very quick to address you that on the issue of locals with respect to independent candidates, that he holds no brief for them, if I'm right. I wonder whether I could dilate on that since he himself has admitted, because in the argument he spoke about independent candidates. I am of the view that had it been a situation wherein any independent candidate was challenging any issue, they would have been before this court. But those who are before this court have won a political party. I don't know if your lordship wants me to still address that. The arguments for independent candidates could not stand before this court, as he himself has admitted that he has no locus to defend. Sorry, my lord. My lord, I must state that firstly, that issue which has been raised has not been complained of by anybody. Has not been complained of by anybody. And assuming that issue. The statutory instruments that matured on the 19th of December makes adequate provisions for independent candidates. Adequate provisions. That is why, in fact, they did not object. Nobody comes here. Most of those who intend, I'm sure, are satisfied with the provisions. And, sorry, my God, that is statutory instruments number 13 and 14. Sorry, may I just be exact? Number 13, statutory instrument number 13, section 15, regulation 10B thereof is adequate provision. With respect to nomination, 10 states, nomination of a candidate shall be in the case of A talks about political party and B talks about independent. Nomination of a candidate shall be in the case of an independent candidate in accordance with section 58 of the Act. Provisions for them to be nominated. They were adequately considered. Justice Brown has asked me to address this issue. That is why I have read and date of the Act, the 58 of the Public Elections Act, 58 of the Public. The date it was published in the Gazette, my Lord, you're asking for. It's the Public Elections Act. My Lord, 58 of the Act is saying, a candidate shall be nominated in writing by 3 voters of the electoral area for which he intends to contest an election and shall not be nominated in more than one elected area. This area, my Lord, does not talk about political parties. It is very clear. It is clear that the nomination should be done by just 3 voters, and voters they are registered individuals, so it could be anybody. It's not talking about you should be nominated by a political party, and that is why I believe the instrument here is referencing section 58. So independent candidates are independent enough that they could succeed in any elections. My Lord, sir. Because you see, it's not an issue, but we need number 5. It states a declaration that to rely on section 38A of the 2001 Act, as stated by the second defendant in their press statement, will preclude independent candidates from contesting for Parliament as contemplated in section 77N of the Constitution of 1991. I believe not an issue. No, my Lord, even the Constitution talks of independent candidates once. Just once. Yes, and clearly, hold on, you have to address the court on that. It's an issue. Because they're asking for the courts to make a declaration on that. And they have referred us specifically to a section in the Constitution. Not so? I do agree, my Lord. So I'd like to say on that, averting my attention to that. My Lord, I definitely relate my citation of the statutory instruments and the Political Parties Act to 77 of the Constitution, and which talks about independent candidates. candidate, he joined a political party in parliament. And this is the only time the constitution speaks about independent candidates. In fact, I think the drafters of the Political Parties Act and the statutory instrument has gone further to elaborate and extend the broadcasting to the highest by properly making provisions for the independent candidates to now know how the part of the electoral process. Because the Constitution speaks of only facts about independent candidates and nothing more. Nothing more. Now they show how they should be nominated. So there are adequate provisions, my Lord, in the statutory instrument that is now law, matured on the 19th of December. I am not too sure. I'm not referencing the one that was filed on a preemptive basis. I'm referring to the law as it is. Suppose we were to have a list. They will not be part of that list. One can be one. How would we address that? The list of candidates. My Lord, the list is not a situation wherein based on this you will be eliminated. You are an independent candidate and there are only 3 voters that will nominate you. You go to NEC, I'm sure those are administrative procedures for the forms and everything. It is not based on political party. It is based on generally to be elected. So in essence, what are you saying? Are you saying that if you are an independent person standing in election, if what would be like the threshold point, the moment we are not, you are being mixed up with the list. How those are issues that I do agree that there are times individuals misunderstand that what is the threshold? What is the threshold? That is not the essence you're saying. What would be the threshold in that type of situation? Yes, how would an independent person be a member of parliament? My Lord, when there's a list. The list is not talking about, in this situation, list of political parties. It's talking about have 3 voters nominate you, and there is a form which you will use to nominate you. In this situation, my Lord, once I am of the view that I am not an expert in electoral processes, but I am sure there are modalities for that. I don't know whether Dr. Safa Abdullah, who is representing NEC, will be able to tell us the various administrative procedures which one will have to go through. But the law, as far as it is concerned, provides, make the necessary provision for the involvement of independent candidates. It does not stop them. And prior to now, prior to the passing of these legislations, there was nothing for independent candidates with respect to nomination and the rest of it. It was barely left with the Electoral Commission to devise the means based on which they will be nominated. The Constitution only spoke about independent candidates once, and it tells you that if you went to, in fact, it did not tell you when you go to Parliament. It should not merely says when you go to Parliament, you cannot switch. This is what happened. And they have been going to Parliament. So I believe NEC, in their wisdom, knows how they will go. Right, my Lord? And my Lord, the Constitution again, Section 75, is very clear on this issue. And it tells you the qualification to go to Parliament. They are very clear. It does not say you must belong to a political party. Yes, not a parliamentary. We know that. Yes, my Lord. It tells you your age, Sierra Leonean nationality, and I am sure this was well dealt with in the recent case that was before the Supreme Court. Let us move forward. opposition to disrupt or interfere with the parliamentary procedures must and should not be countenanced by this bench. This is a bench that does not look at proposition, not a proposal for parliament. We cannot look at a proposal for parliament. The responsibility to the Supreme Court is with respect to substantive law when it comes to the issue of interpretation. We cannot interpret a proposed document to do what? Of what essence would that be? And this court cannot act in vain. It cannot. In fact, I was thinking before coming here that there would have been another application and this one withdrawn after the 19th of December. But we still have the same old application. It may be a dangerous precedent. Otherwise, we wait immediately the law officers draft something. Somebody will come to court with that draft. And when they are in parliament and being debated, people will begin to come to this court, all need to interfere with the proceedings in parliament. I don't know why you can with this point because I've just shown you the exhibit to the statement of case of the second defendant, and it appears there. As my lord, it appears, that's why I don't know why. I'm just re-echoing, my lord. Sometimes. Well, I don't know because it is there. I apologize. The second defendant says I didn't exhibit it, well, that's another thing, really. Any specific issue, I shall limit myself so far and allow Mr. Kano to deal with the rest of the issue. Paragraph 6, we raise jurisdictional objections, and like my colleague is Solicitor General has already indicated that we intend to address the jurisdictional objections, given the fact that this court is sitting as a constitutional court. I think these are pertinent issues for this court to address. Lord, the jurisdictional objection that we raised is in relation to other two. The second relief paid for by the plaintiff. Lord, the second relief states clearly that a declaration that the directive by the President to the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone PCSL to hold any public elections for ordinary members of Parliament by the proportional representation system, where there are extant and subsisting constituencies, is what survives the Constitution 1991 was submitted. Lord, the use of the word ultra-virus is key. For me, at times, obviously, ultra-virus means it's beyond the powers. Lord, I'll first submit that this ordinary record lacks jurisdiction to grant the second relief. The ultra-virus doctrine that the plaintiff have raised under the second relief
the excess of powers, of decision-making bodies. Various doctrine that the plaintiffs have raised deals with the excess of the powers of decision-making bodies.
We are saying that they acted arbitrarily.
In this case, the president acted arbitrarily. In other words, he acted beyond the powers granted to him under Section 38. That's the issue here. But I will additionally submit for this honorable court to grant the second relief prayed for. For this honorable court to grant the second relief prayed for in the originating notice of submission, the following has to be done, beloved. That is to say, this honorable court will have to first interpret Section 38A of the Constitutional Amendment to determine the scope of delegation of power and to determine, then to interpret, the delegated power in question, and finally to adjudge whether the same is within or outside the constitutional amendment, or exceed the scope of authority given by the said Section 38. So, my lords, it is my submission in a nutshell the underlying effect of the second relief sought is seeking for a declaration by this honorable court. The underlying effect of the second relief lot is seeking for a declaration by this honorable court that His Excellency the President acted outside the constitutional amendment or jurisdiction conferred herein in a manner which is procedurally irregular and therefore acted ultra vires of his powers. The Constitution of Sierra Leone has not conferred this power with respect to this ordinary court. Lord, I refer you to Section 53, subsection 3 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone. The Constitution of Sierra Leone has not conferred this jurisdiction to this ordinary court. section 53 reads, it says, where by this constitution or under any other law, the president is required to act in accordance with the advice of any person or authority. The question whether he has in any case received or acted in accordance with such advice shall not be inquired into in any court. Lord, the second relief is asking this court to inquire into the directive of the president. That's what it's doing. And I believe my learned colleague, who I believe Abdullah Conte, who is one of the proponents of the 1991 Constitution, the new dispensation as it was held at the time, definitely has attempted to address you on this provision with regards to ouster or exclusion of jurisdiction. It's clear, it's clear. And a similar provision that the Solicitor General has addressed on earlier, similar to that, is 94.2, which is again clearly mentioned in the case of Inga Norman that Malane colleague cited earlier. Lord, in this matter at page 320 of that ruling, stroke 9, is instructive. Lord, if I may read that ruling for you. It says, it's a rubric jurisdiction. It says, jurisdiction with reference to a country's judicial system simply means the authority which a court has within the system to decide on matters litigated before it. It is usually conferred by the constitution of that country or statute. Therefore, if a constitution of a country states that the court has no jurisdiction in certain matters, it is impossible for the court to assume jurisdiction on short matters. See Ohinimo versus Akasati to Waka. Lord, he went on further to say, there is also the point of exclusion or ouster of jurisdiction. This is the removal from the courts of its power to hear and determine the issue. In some jurisdictions, the exclusion clause is incorporated in the constitution of the country. For example, section 94 subsection 2 of constitution forbids any act done under the rules of parliamentary procedure shall not be inquired into by any court. My Lord, the end words of section 53 clearly says the act mentioned above shall not be inquired into by any court. Similarly, section 53.2 is saying the same, my Lord. Yeah.
Hello? Yes. I look at the result.
Yes, my Lord.
The emphasis is where the extant and subsisting constituencies is ultra-vires the constitution. It's not on the directive. His argument was not saying that we are going to inquire into whether the directive was given or not. No. He's saying whatever directive they have given, whether consultation or not consultation, which cannot be inquired into, because where the extant and subsisting constituency, it is ultra-vires. That is the point. It says a declaration that the directive by the President to the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone to hold any public elections for ordinary members of parliament by the proportional system where there are extant and substantive constituencies is ultra vires the constitution.
My Lord, you cannot reach that conclusion without looking into how that directive was given. It's the how. And for you now to declare that directive ultra vires, you have to look at the circumstances that led to that directive. That's what 53 is triggered. You have to inquire into it.
I think what is saying is not too much whether he acted in accordance with after consultation. One, they are already constituencies. Two, what's the second category? They are already constituencies.
Yes.
And they're fixed for the election.
I think the issue of whether they are extant constituencies or not, it again goes to the substance of the case, which I believe...
That is something we're going to handle.
Exactly.
That is
what we are saying.
That is what we are going to handle. The directive as it is.
It's reference to the directive. Because if it was an issue of whether they are extant constituencies or not, it is the issue for both parties here, the defendants and more particularly the second defendant, to show that they're not extant constituencies, because what they are alleging, they are extant constituencies. But again, we have stated in our case, the implied or expressed effect of 38(3) and 7 means, and the recently concluded census, that there are no extant constituencies. That is for this
That is a question, that's the declaration we are going to answer.
Definitely.
Whether they're extant or substantive, we'll look at it. But to make it reference to 53 is my point.
Lord,
the issue about inquiry, it does not apply here.
It's the way this second relief has been drafted. If, in other words, you hold that that directive is ultra vires, my Lord, the President has acted illegally. And if you investigate into how that directive came about and you decide to hold, well, I don't want to mention the constitutional consequences. Then 51 will be triggered, because as a custodian of constitution, he has breached the constitution. I think there are reasons behind these provisions.
Okay. Proceed.
My learned senior has mentioned the English case of Lord Hill, talking about parliamentary supremacy. Unfortunately, the UK does not have a written constitution. We have a constitution, and we are bound by our constitution. It's simple. Unfortunately, I mean, my time at studying government and politics, one of the interesting things about the UK is the lack of written constitution, which you have to find within different statutes. It does not have a written constitution. We have a written constitution. And this court sitting at this very moment is a constitutional court. And constitutional provisions have to be applied. Albeit, however unfair they might be. So, we are saying, having read the judgment of Justice Tara Thompson, I'll submit that the Constitution has stated clear and unambiguous words that is the exclusion or ouster of jurisdiction by the removal from this honorable court of its power to hear and determine the second relief sought. I respectfully submit, my lords, that the only jurisdiction left for the second relief is for that relief to be struck out. is all I have to say for the second relief. And I want to address you on the seventh relief, the restraining order. I know my learned senior has not dealt with that. Submit that the second relief is a consequential relief. It's a consequential relief, my Lord. Seventh relief. Which I believe flows from the second relief, my Lord, if it's granted. As I've already stated that the court lacks jurisdiction to grant the second relief, Lord, I'll respectfully submit again that this seventh relief should be struck out in the event that the court holds that they lack jurisdiction to grant the second relief. My apologies, my Lord. My Lord, we now that the plaintiff have actually now stated their case, we want to draw you to an attention dealing a reference dealing with section 89. I mean, I think it's an opportunity for maybe this court to look at it. Maybe the wording of Rule 89 of the Supreme Court rules with regards to the affidavit.
Yeah. 89 of the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court rules, my Lord. 89 sub rule 2.
Yes.
My Lord, 89 sub rule 2 said that the notice of motion shall be supported by an affidavit setting forth as concisely as possible the nature of the relief sought. My Lord, our contention here is the originating motion, notice of motion have not concisely set forth the relief sought. Yes, the reliefs are in the motion, but the reading of this section, affidavit setting forth as concisely as possible the nature of the relief sought. There is nowhere in both affidavits that has been met. So, my Lord,
but that's a non-compliance issue. Are you relating it to jurisdiction? Is that what you do?
My Lord, it depends on how you hold with regards to this. It's just for us to raise it to you. I mean, it's a non-compliance issue. It might be mandatory or directory, but it depends on how you hold. But I think I anticipate your ruling on this.
Make your submission. My Lord, make your submission. Make your submission.
My Lord, my submission is that the plaintiff have not complied with this provision with regards to the affidavit, my Lord. And I invite this honorable court to so.
Plaintiffs
have not complied with the provision of 89.2 with regards to the affidavit. Having setting forth concisely as possible the nature of the relief sought. That is my humble submission, my Lord. That is all I have to say. Lord, unless you want me to address one more issue, that's a case for the first defendant.
Second respondent. Excuse me, what's the time now? It's 1:45. Can we take a 10 minutes comfort break? We'll come again at 2.
Sorry, Milan.
Can we take a 10 minutes comfort break?
Of course, Milan.
We'll come again at 2. Pardon? It's 1:45. Perhaps my time is fast. I don't know, but would you please rise the court for a 15 minutes comfort break?
Democracy at stake.
free. And is a President, good morning, and a warm welcome to your program, Good Morning, LEONE. This is a program that always can start your day. I am Sheikh Smaila. Our quote of the day is coming from Albert Einstein, and it says, "Science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind." I go over these wise words once again from Albert Einstein, and it says, "Science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind." Coming up in this edition of the program Good Morning, LEONE, Project 1808 will be hosting its third annual Science Leadership Festival in Kabbalah, Koyendu District, and in Wellington, in Freetown. In actualizing the vision of the bio-led administration for the mining sector, the gold mining company